Welcome to Doctor's Notes. This episode is a bit late, I know. That's because, I forgot. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna record it. And then I never did. So, this should be out the day it comes out. I don't know. Anyways, so this episode, I wanted to talk about a game I started playing last week or so. It came out in 2015. You probably have heard of it. It's called Fallout 4. I started playing Fallout 4. And I've wanted to play it for a while because I love the aesthetic of like the 40s, 50s-ish aesthetic. That's why that's why WandaVision hooked me in, because it started with that and I was like, ooh, this is so interesting. Anyways, so Fallout 4. I didn't know really anything about it, and before I actually get into it, I will have to warn you, this will have spoilers in it if you haven't played the game. And I haven't beat the game yet, but just a warning, this episode will have Fallout 4 spoilers, but it's because I'm going to gush about things. Okay, so I didn't really know like what the game was about. Oh, well, I knew that there was like a nuclear thing and that there's like Fallout, and I was like, okay, that's all I know about it. And so I started playing it, and okay, I named my character Natalie, and then I learned that the husband's name is Nate, and I was like, wow, there's Nat, Nate, and Sean. Apparently, if you play as the guy, the wife's name's Nora, so, like, what's with all these N names? Sean. Okay, so, like, after you the bomb drops and stuff and you're traveling and such, I was like, okay, no, that part like where the bomb was actually like gonna be dropped and stuff, the nuclear bomb, like I was like, bruh, because I hate air raid sirens and missile siren. I hate those sirens. It's ironic because like my name is Siren, but I hate sirens so much. I hate the sound. Worst thing ever. Oh, and my like Batman, because like he hated bats, but he's like, I'll become Batman to get over my fear. I don't know. I don't like the sound of the siren things because they freak me out. And so that first part of the game, I was like, ah. That was fine basically the whole time after that, except when I was looking for the coarser synth. You gotta tune into like this radio station, and it's going beep, beep, and it goes faster and faster the closer you are, so you know like you're closer to it. And if that wasn't bad enough, with that were making like my heart go super fast. Anytime you would like try to pick a lock or unlock a terminal or go into your inventory, the beeping for some reason would just get a little bit faster, and it's just like, why? Anyways, so those two were like the big like for me. And I just want to talk about my favorite person in the game. He's a robotic, he's a synth detective, and his name is Nick Valentine, and he's my favorite character ever at the moment. Dude, he's 1, a robot, 2, a detective, 3, he's got a voice kind of like Spider-Man Noir, 4, he's basically Spider-Man Noir minus the spider part. He's just Man Noir. 5, he's just a really good dude. Like he's so nice. He's so nice. I love him so much. Last week, during D&D, there was a comment made by one of the players, and he was like, he's a synth, not a simp, and I said, yeah, I know, but I am. So I think that's really funny. Basically, yeah, Nick Valentine. How fitting that I think this episode's supposed to come out on Valentine's Day. But I love him so much, and like, his backstory, like, dude, so the entire time, like, I'm helping him out with, like, this quest to go, like, get rid of this old dude from 200 years ago. So let me just explain a little bit of things. So Nick Valentine, he's a synth, but his brain is actually the brain of this cop from 200 years ago, because I was in a cryo chamber, or the sole survivor, the Volta, or the person you play as protagonist, was in a cryo chamber for 200 years after the bomb was dropped. And so this is post thing, but Nick Valentine's brain is from a cop named Nick Valentine from 200 years ago. So during the protagonist's time. And so like he knew how it was before. And it was so I'm going with him, help him like get rid of Eddie Winter, who's this dude, he's now a ghoul, but he originally was this crime boss 200 years ago in Boston, and because that's where the game takes place. I didn't realize that until like halfway through. I was like, oh wait, this takes place in Boston? that explains all the Revolutionary Era themed stuff. How did these survive 300 years or whatever? And like, so I'm helping him like find this dude, and I find the dude. And the reason he wanted to get rid of him so bad was like because like he knew him before the thing. Like he knew of him and like apparently knew him. Anyways, so I finally get all of his tapes and I get into his like place he locked himself in, the place where Eddie Winter locked himself in to wait out the nuclear radiation stuff. And now he's a ghoul, which are like zombie skeleton things, except so there's feral ghouls, which are like zombies, and they're super fast. When they spot you, they go zoom. Then there's just normal ghouls who are like people, but they still kind of look zombie-ish. Yeah. And so I go in there and I'm like, yo, this dude looks lame. He's just like vibing in here, but he's like an old crime boss, I guess. And Eddie Winter's like, yo, you're not gonna find anything in here. Haha, loser. And then Nick walks up and he's like, Eddie Winter, what the heck, man? And Winter's like, yo, dude, you seem familiar. Who are you? He's like, the name's Valentine, Nick Valentine. He's like, you, the old cop from 2 years ago? Pff, you're not him. You're just some robot. And then Nick's like, well, you killed my fiance. And that's the point where I started to cry. Like, legit. Because up to that point, you're not really given, like, that much insight as to, like, why he very badly wants to get rid of Eddie Winter. Like, yeah, it made sense because, you know, he's this crime boss. Nick, this good guy, this good detective cop, would want to get rid of him. It makes sense. But then you see that, like, it also was because, like, Eddie, like, hurt him. And I'm just like, ow! Like, personally, like, ow! And, like, dude, like, because it was so sad, because, like, it just added, like, so much to his character. It's like, he had someone, but then Eddie Winter's men killed her. But then Eddie's like, oh no, I didn't kill your fiance. We killed Nick's fiance. Because you're not Nick, you're just a robot. And so there's a bit more of that. And that just makes me so mad because I'm like, no, Nick is Nick, stop. And so then it finally gives us the option to just go blammo on the guy. So we get rid of him, and then Nick's like, finally. And he's like, come on, I want to show you something. So this whole time, Nick's like struggling and dealing with like these flashes of memories that aren't his because they were Nick Valentine's memories, like the old Nick, from human Nick. And for him, how it was he was built by the Institute, which is like this facility that makes all these synths and had been replacing people. But he's a Gen 2 synth, I want to say. Yeah, he's a Gen 2 synth. And, so let me explain a little bit more. Hold on. So, I'll get to that part in a second. So he takes me upstairs. We go out of the bunker place and up to this pole with a car crash into it, and there's all these weeds overgrowing it. And I don't know if it's implying that, like, her car crashed as well, because I wasn't sure if that's actually what we were supposed to be looking at, but I'm just gonna pretend that's what happened. So he goes, 200 years ago at this spot, one of Eddie Winter's men put a bullet into Jen's back, and now he's as dead as her. And that legit, like, I was like, and it was just so sad, because, like, we're, like, squatting looking at this car, and then he stands up, and he starts talking, and goes, Eddie was the last reminder of Nick's old life. And, like, so he's explaining this thing, and, like, he's a robot, so he can't cry, but he has sadness and, like, tears in his voice, and that makes me, at this point, I'm actually shedding tears. I'm, like, literally crying. I'm sitting on the couch, just, like, sobbing while playing this game, and he's explaining it's like because like Eddie was the last reminder of Nick's old life, and then I had my person Natalie say, well now you're free, and he's like, yeah, I guess. I just need some time for that. And that okay, and then he explains how it's not that he wasn't Nick. It's not like him and Nick are two different people, because the thing is, he basically was Nick Valentine. He was this human guy, and the last things he remembers are like him going to this place. I don't remember what he said, but it's like him going to this place, something about like his brain or whatever, and then he wakes up in this trash pile with all these memories that aren't his, because he's now this synth with like this dude's brain in him, and the Institute had chucked him out, if I remember correctly. And so he's just trying to figure out like basically who he is, and he's like, is he this guy? And he's like very happy that he was given like this dude's brain instead of like some like bad guy, because Nick Valentine was like a really like noble dude. And like, man, R.I.P. Jenny Lands. It just makes me so sad, because I'm just like, he had someone he loved, and then she died, and so he basically has 200 years without her, trying to get rid of this last reminder of her, or of his old life. And well, he wasn't there for the whole entire 200 years, but a good part of it, I think, if I remember. And then he goes to finally get rid of Eddie, just to have Eddie like discount him and say like, oh no, like that wasn't your fiance, that was Nick's. And so it's just man, like I don't know, man. I don't know. It just made me really, really sad. I was like, no. Oh, and then I was talking to Nick after this whole thing, and he goes, do you still want to like travel with me? I'd understand if you'd want some time alone. I was like, nah, dude, come on. And so that is the point where like you hit like max level relationship companion with with Nick as your companion. Because there's different companions you get throughout the game. You can get Dog Meat, which is the dog at the beginning. I wish you could have two companions, because I would have Dog Meat and Nick, or Hancock and Nick, or Deacon and Nick, or like any of these. I would just always have Nick, but also someone else. You can get Hancock, who's this ghoul who runs Good Neighbor. He's pretty cool. Him and Valentine have such good banter. Deacon, who's this guy who works for the railroad. Actually, apparently, according to my brother, he's actually one of the founders of the railroad, but he faked his death, and now he's like pretending to be someone else. And basically, okay, the thing with the companions is most of them, you can give them different clothes. You can put different clothes into your inventory and have them equip it. So I gave Hancock these sunglasses. I gave Deacon a tuxedo and sunglasses. I gave the Vault Tech rep, because at the beginning you meet this Vault Tech employee who's like, hey, I have an offer for you. You and your family get to go into this vault, just in case there's impending doom. And we're like, okay, fine. And what do you know, that same exact day, like 5 seconds later, bomb, boom. And so we are running, and apparently, so he wasn't on the list to get into the vault, so the Vault Tech rep had to stay out there. But I get in, and then so does Nate and Sean. Oh, and the Institute takes Sean and kills Nate. I take his wedding ring. I give the wedding ring to Nick when I meet him. You can't have Nick change clothes. You can't have him equip anything, and so I couldn't have him wear the wedding ring. I love this robot man. Please, game, please let me. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, anyways, you can meet the Vault Tech rep. Now he's a ghoul, and he's like, it's you, like, bro. How, what? And I'm like, cryo chamber. He's like, what? And I was like, you should head back to Sanctuary, which is where like you used to live, and now it's all destroyed, but now I'm setting it up as like a base. The Minutemen are there, so Preston and his men, which are these people you help at the beginning of the game. Dog Meat's there with me, or there. McCready, who's this like gunman from the Gunners, is there. Codsworth, who's this like Mr. Handy robot that like is like your robot butler at the beginning of the game, like before like, you know, destruction. And I didn't know this at the time, but he's voiced by the same guy who voices Nick Valentine. And this guy voices so many people. Let's see, can I look it up? I'm gonna look it up. He voices so many people in this game, and he had to record over 4,000 voice lines because, depending on what you name your character, if you name it like a normal name, there's a huge list of like normal names plus like a few like not so normal, and then like some like Matrix references and such. Miss Codsworth will call you by your name if you have a name that's like on this list. And so like over 4,000 voice lines. He's the only character that ever calls you by your name in a voice line or even in like text, except for in the newspaper that Piper writes, the public occurrences, it calls you by your name. But you know, it's not a voice line. He's the only person who says it in a voice line. So anyways, okay, so I got the list. This guy, Steven Russell, has 33 roles in Fallout 4. He plays Nick Valentine, Mr. Handy, Codsworth, Atomic Dreams, Bean, Bob Drunkle, Bosun, Cook Handy, Crisp, Danny, Deezer, Fusion's Folly, Goodfields, Kingpin, Lookout, Mac, Maxwell, Mr. Navigator, Old Rusty, Percy, Piece of Junk, Reg, Split, Sprocket, Strike, The Champ, Tenpin, Twert, Waitron, Willingham, Whitechapel Charlie. He plays this Daima in Far Harbor DLC and Maxwell in the Far Harbor DLC. He basically plays all of the Mr. Handy robots. And once I learned that, and I had talked to Codsworth, I was like, oh no, I can hear it now. I can slightly hear Nick Valentine doing an accent here. Because he's British, or Codsworth is like British. Anyways, and so this dude, he got a lot of roles. But basically, what was I even saying? I got so off track. Oh yeah, 4,000 voice lines. And so he's like, Miss Natalie. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. But this guy played so many people. He had to record like 4,000 voice lines. I could never. And just like thinking about how many voice lines altogether all the people had to record, because based on different events that happen and what you say and like different like things are going on, who's your companion at the time, when you talk to different people, what like you randomly do. It's so much. And it's just like, dude, that's kind of crazy. That's a lot. But it's really cool to just think about it. Anyways, and it's such a cool game because it's got so many different time period things in it. So it's got the 40s vibe, but then this post-apocalyptic vibe, science, like futuristic, aperture science kind of vibe at the Institute. There's aliens and stuff, if you can find them. So there's that. There's also Revolutionary Era vibes because of like the Minutemen and you're in Boston. So it's a ton of stuff. Like apocalypse and all that. It's just so much. And it's really cool because there's a ton of side quests, and so you can totally get off track when you're like the main quest is to try to find your son, Sean. I saw this drawing online, and it was like someone's character, and they're playing with dog meat, and Valentine's like, yo, now we can get back to looking for Sean, and the character is like, who? Which is basically true, because like you can just get so sidetracked like doing all these DLC, and there's kind of like something for everyone, because there's not DLC, why did I say DLC? Side quests, because there's kind of something for everyone, because there's like detective stuff, there's mercenary stuff, there's just like finding stuff for people. It's like so fun. And there's this side quest you can do in Good Neighbor. You meet this guy, what's his name, Ted, I want to say, I don't remember. Anyways, so he's a ghoul, and he's like, yo, have you listened to Silver Shroud radio? And I had my person say, yeah, I listened, like, me and my family will listen to every new episode. And he's like, yo, what do you mean? Like, when it first came out, how old are you? I'm like, cryo chamber, baby. He's like, bruh, okay, cool. He's like, now go find, if you can, we can bring this Silver Shroud back. Who is this? Like, Silver Shroud was this comic book character. It's like a detective, like Spider-Man Noir without the spider part. It's like Nick Valentine if he was more noir than he is. And he's part of like this like superhero team called the Unstoppables. I think that's what they're called. And I need to go. And he's like, okay, if you can get Silver Shroud's costume and prop submachine gun, from this, like, if you can find those, then I'll do something to them. I'll like fix them up, because I didn't even know this quest existed, but I had already gotten the things because I went to Hubris Comics already, just because I thought I was supposed to get something else there, but it wasn't even there. And it's where they had been filming a TV show. And Nick says a voice line, he goes, "Oh, this is where they're filming that awful TV show." And I don't know, it just gave I love lines that just like add like a little character, just like, oh yeah, he would know about this thing because he was alive 200 years ago. He would know about like this show when it was still in production because it never came out or something. He would have probably read these comics. And it's just like it just adds to his character. I really wish like I wish you could go to the memory den and like see like Nick's memories of like when he was human. I really want to know. Please, I want to see what he looks like. I'd probably be disappointed, so probably it's a good thing. um, and so, anyways, I'd gone there, and so there's a lot of like just junk there. So I picked up the stuff already, and then like 2 days later, my brother was like, "Oh yeah, wait, what? You can talk to this guy. Isn't that why you got the armor?" I was like, or the costume was like, "No." He's like, "Then why did you go there? Did you not get sent on a quest?" I was like, "No, I just went there." He's like, "Oh, okay." So I gave Ted or whoever the Todd? Ted? I don't remember who what. I gave him the stuff and he turns into actual armor. Like really good armor. It doesn't have like any nuclear protection, but or radiation protection, but I was only gonna be using it for a little bit of time. So anyways, so I have that and then I have like this hat and then I have the submachine gun which he like rigged up. And I basically start acting as the Silver Shroud, and it's really cool because on those voice dialogues you can like intimidate as the Shroud. Like I talk like this. It's so funny. And so basically, vigilante, I become superhero, and then I also look really cool because I totally look like Nick's partner there. After jumping back a little bit, after I like got to like max companionship with Nick, he anytime I'm talking to him, he's smiling the whole time. It makes me so happy. And if I'm talking and I'm just like, because you can ask like, hey, how are things between us? Like basically the relationship or the friendship, or whatever. He's and at the beginning it's like, oh yeah, thanks for saving me. Doing okay, I guess. And then the second level or bit, he's like, I like traveling with you. It's cool. And then when you reach that, his is like Nick idolizes you. When she reached that, he's like, I couldn't ask for a better partner or a better friend. And it's just like anytime I ask him that, he just like says different stuff like, "Oh, dude, you're so great." It's like, "Oh, I love traveling with you. Oh, you're like such a good friend." And I'm just like, "Oh," and like it just makes me so happy. Because like I don't know, because I don't know. It's good. Um, um. Oh, it's so funny because I started talking about him a lot in the Discord server, and I was like, guys, I think I might simp for him more than I simp for Mumbo, and then everyone went into panic mode. They're like, oh no, what? They went through the 5 stages of grief. And I think the reason is because with like Nick Valentine, he's a video game character, and so my character personally interacts with him and has this like story arc of becoming like his friend and like his like detective partner, and it's like different than just like mumbo. And so it's like I don't know, man, because like but I mean currently, yeah, what's with me and robots, but still. And I love Nick, but why is he so hard to draw? I don't know what's up with like me, but like when it comes to like these Fallout characters, I have to draw them like, or either like I realize they have to be drawn like semi realistically, or they have to be drawn in the style of Vault Boy. There's no in between. Like until I figure something out, I just think there's no in between. But I did like a really cool one I really liked. And I found the font they use for the detective sign. It's called Blippo. And so I was like, thank you. I'll be taking that and using that. Um, but like Valentine's such a banger name, like Nick Valentine. That's so cool. But then that got me thinking. I was like, wait, that means there's Nora, who's the wife if you play as the dude. There's Nate if you play as the wife, if you play as the girl, your husband's name's Nate. There's Natalie, who's my character, and then there's Nick, and then Sean. Here's what Google spoiled for me. So I look up Fallout 4 on Google. That's all I look up, just to see like when the game came out, which was November 10th, 2015. And in the people also ask box, I think the second question in there was, is Sean really the old man? Or is the old man really Sean? And I just Google had spoiled that bit for me, which I didn't get to that thing like until like 2 or 3 days later. Or yeah, 2 or 3 days later. I was just like, why? Oh man. Thanks, Google. But okay, so there's this video on YouTube. It's called Nick Valentine Out of Context or something like that, and it's so funny. I love watching it. It's just really funny. But yeah. That's my Fallout review. I'm still playing it. I accidentally like started working for the Institute. I don't like the Institute. Like at all. Like I don't like Sean. Like, yeah, he's my son, but he's also now this old guy because it was 60 years between the cryo chamber and because I thought it would only been like 10 at first, and then I realized, oh no, it's 60 once you get to the Institute. He's like, oh yeah, I am father. I built all these synths, or I'm creator of all these synths, and the way they talk about them, they're like, oh, they don't have free will. They can't have free will. They're not people, but we've seen from like Nick or from Glory or like any of these other like synths that have been helped out by the railroad that they are people and they can have free will, and it's like wrong for the Institute to just be like, oh yeah, get the synth back. And I accidentally did a mission for them. But then I'm helping this one synth and this one guy named like Benet. We're gonna like take down the Institute because I don't like them. It's all for Nick's sake, basically. And I basically do all my actions based on like what Nick is like. Yeah, because if I'll whenever I'm like faced with a decision which I think will affect like, oh, because in the corner it'll be like Valentine liked that, Valentine disliked that, whatever. Like I'll do quick save because you can quick save at any point. You can quick save in middle conversations. It's so handy. I quick save way too much, but still, like I'll quick save it and then I'll do the option I think that's right. And if it's like Valentine disliked that, I load my save and I'm like, okay, go back. Okay, choose a different one. Oh, it's so funny. I just do all my things based on like what he would like. It's also very funny because if you hack any terminal, no matter if it's like someone else's terminal and like if the name is red and so that means you'll get in trouble for doing it. Normally with like red things, if you steal something in front of like Nick or whatever, it'd be like Valentine disliked that, or Valentine was like, hey, what the heck? But if you hack a terminal, no matter what, he likes it. It's so funny. And he says different voice lines. He's like, oh, do you need me to help with that? Oh, hey, you got it. It's like another one's like, you sure you're not part synth? Well then I guess you wouldn't know, would you? Another one was, this is my favorite. Is there any computer you can't charm? Oh, he's so great. Anyways, and so I'm on this I'm on this quest thing where I'm supposed to kill these guards so I could save like some synths and I do that. But then it says I failed the objective, and then it also says I failed this other one because the other one I was supposed to do was for the Institute, and so now I'm an enemy of the Institute, and it's like, oh, you have to escape now. And so I loaded a save to when that before that because I didn't want that to happen because I was confused. I was like, wait, but I did the objective. Why does it say I failed this? I don't know why. We'll see when I try it again. So then I loaded a save to before I did all that. Before I did that thing where I killed the guards. And I teleported out, like fast traveled out of the Institute and started just doing some like side quests and such. But yeah, so that's where I am in the game. And I renamed this gun I had to Noob Killer. I don't know why, but I did, and it's kind of funny. Yeah, basically, yeah. I love like hacking terminals, and I love like picking locks. It's so fun. Hacking terminals is more fun though, in my opinion. Um, and I was hacking this one terminal, and it had my name. It said Samantha, and I was like, oh whoa, because it will have random words and then brackets and like different like symbols and stuff. And if you hover over a thing with like two brackets like facing each other, like if it's a bracket or a square bracket or a bracket, a parentheses, a curly Q, whatever, or like little triangle ones, if they're like around a thing of text, not text, if it's around some symbols, like a left one and a right one facing each other and stuff, um, and there's not a word like in between it, then you can like click that whole bunch and it will get rid of either like a word that's not the password or it will like reset your tries. Um and so that's just fun to like go through all of them because sometimes you can get a ton of them because it's all randomized. That's really fun. And I have this perk called the Scrounger perk, and basically I can find more ammo when I'm looking for ammo and stuff. I have like the second rank of it, and I just find so much. I have so many like cells, which is like for energy weapons like the Institute pistols or rifles or like the laser like weapons. Those use fusion cells. Fusion cells. They use cells as ammo, and I have like over 1,000 of those. I wasn't using those weapons, and I was still picking up all that ammo. It's like I have so much for this, and the one I have currently is not that strong. I'm like, why do I use this? It's because I ran out of ammo in my other one. Whoopsie. Anyways, so I don't know. It's just really fun, and time passes when I'm playing it because it's like with other games, I'll be like, okay, I'm bored. I don't. Yeah, okay, I've done all these things. I'm kind of bored. Like the Spider-Man game, I'm like, I love the Spider-Man game, but like after a bit, I'm just like, there's not really much else to do. I don't want to have to go do this other thing because there's usually only one objective. Whereas this has so many side things, and it's just so captivating to me, and it's caught my attention. And only a few games have caught my attention this well, where I kind of don't want to stop playing because it's just fun. So Undertale was one of them. Portal 1 and Portal 2, and then this game. I think those are like the four like games that have like caught my attention. I can't remember other ones. So maybe there were more, but I don't know. But those games really like that. Oh, probably Pokemon. Probably what some of the Pokemon games for the DS. Like this really caught my attention because it's got like so many side quests on Fallout 4. It's like so much. I bought a Nick Valentine pop. This was I think yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was like 2 or 3 days ago. I don't remember. Um, but basically, since the game came out in 2015, merchandise and pops and stuff were made around that time. It's now 2021, and so with pops, they'll make like a few like lines like runs of it, and then they don't because it's just like it's there and it's gone, kind of like limited edition stuff. And so it's considered a vaulted pop because they don't make it anymore. And I found one. I went on this website and I bought the last one in stock, and I was like, "This is mine now." So yeah, I did that. Also, some things that happened this week. My team won county for mock trial, and I found out that me and my friend who, did the courtroom art for the competition, because for mock trial there's a few competitions. So there's the mock trial thing. So so each school has their prosecution and their defense team. I'm on my school's defense team. I play a witness. And then there's also a chance during county for courtroom artist competition and also courtroom journalist. And this girl from my school also did the courtroom journalist, and she co-championed because with those there's co-champions, which makes me so happy because I know I would never win to my friend who co-champions with me because she's so good at art, dude. Anyways, so we co-championed, so that was really cool. And so that means we're going to go to state this year, which states most likely are going to be on Zoom because the entire thing this year was on Zoom, which makes it was kind of easier. So we didn't have to travel for like scrimmages and such. We also won we won counties last year, but we didn't go to state because state was the same week that everything shut down. So that was sad. But state was so fun because I went to state my freshman year because I co-championed for courtroom art. I wasn't on the actual team. I just did courtroom art. My dad's one of the coaches. We have like 4 coaches. We didn't win that year for counties, but I went to state and it was so fun. The next year we won counties against our rivals, and we were going to go to state, but then it was canceled. This year we won against our rivals again. We're going to go to state, so that's really cool. It's probably going to be online. So we miss all the cool, fun team banter, which is sad, but you know. So we did that. I started watching a lot of videos from like Blame It on George and Nexpo. So interesting to me. Like Lost Media. I don't know, and also just spooky stuff. It's just interesting. Like, it's really nice just like watch while I'm like doing work. Oh, let me tell you about this project I have to do for my multimedia / graphic design / film / English class. I have 3 teachers for that class, and they're all great. So we're doing a project. For project 3, we're doing a short story. And leading up to the project, we did a few little like mini activities, like the mini assignments. Like we had to write like a short fairy tale with like elements of plot. And my fairy tale was a condensed version of Featherweight. And then my English teacher was like, "Hey, you guys when you're writing your short story, you guys can use the fairy tale you did, or like the or like this other thing we did as like a basis for it." And so I did. I chose the fairy tale thing. So I'm writing this 4 to 6 page long like short story of Featherweight, but it's the middle bit where he becomes Poultry Man. But it's like I change names and I change things because so it's not fan fiction because it's supposed to be like quote unquote original stuff. Technically it is still original because it's my story but not my characters, so I just changed some things. And so there's a lot of stuff. Hold on, let me actually pull up the documents and such because it's a lot of stuff we're doing and it's actually really cool. I'm really excited. So hold on, it's loading up. I'm just opening Google Classroom. Okay, so narrative media launch. Let me click the link so I can read this stuff. So basically, what we're going to be doing is using your knowledge of the hero's journey, you will write a detailed, well-told story about a character in a specific situation. He or she may motivate us through the wisdom, perseverance, giving, kindness, courage, dreams, or an overall sense of justice. The protagonist may grow and change. The plot may be serious or lighthearted, but your story and your main character must both be believable. So our tangibles, which are like the things we're making. So a short story, 4 to 6 pages in length, written in MLA format. Your short story will adhere to the hero's journey format, the protagonist that experienced a hardship and then overcomes it. That's like easy. That's easy. A story title logo created in Adobe Illustrator or alternative program, which will be used across all products to promote your story idea. A comic book page that includes multiple panels to visually tell a segment of the short story, maybe hand-drawn or computer created. I'm very excited for that one because, as you know, I had been making those comic book pages for Werewolf Mumbo, and so like that was like preparation for the I didn't even know we were gonna be doing this. I started making these things. It's like, wow, it's practice. Anyways, I'm very excited for that. A cover art design for your audio play created in Adobe Photoshop or alternative program. A social media account that shares points of interest in visual creations in order to promote your short story with your audience. We created them yesterday, but I won't start posting until Tuesday because that's when we're supposed to post. We're supposed to post at least twice a week, and it's supposed to be like a promotional page where we post updates, like story things about it. And so the 4 things we could have made it on were Facebook, which why would I do that? Instagram, TikTok. I don't have TikTok, and I won't ever. Or Twitter. So I made a Twitter account because it seemed the easiest. And so instead of Featherweight, I'm calling it Featherfall because that was one of the original titles I had like picked out for it. And so the Twitter is Featherfall Book. It's got nothing, but I'll be posting like updates on the story. An audio play created in Adobe Premiere Pro or alternative programs using images, photography. Why did I say photography like that? Photography, music, and sound effects. Your audio play will take listeners through the adventure of your hero's journey story. and a promotional webpage that includes your original short story, title logo, comic page, cover art design, and audio play to promote your short story and share it with your audience. So all these things. There's some other things that we did. Like we had to create character profiles for 2 of the characters. I have 4 characters. Yeah, there's 4 characters that are in the story. But yeah, so we had to create these character profile things, and I had to change their names. So instead of Grian Dreamslayer, his name is Charles Alexander Dreamer, or Charlie for short, and his superhero name is Flight. Let me just read you these things. So his age, he's 17 in this story. 3 hobbies: exploring, building, pranks. 3 things that make him happy are his friends, baked goods, and finishing a large project. 3 things that make him sad are thinking about leaving, failure, and being left out. And 3 things that make him angry are people bad-mouthing him, being told what to do, and failing over and over and over again. And then his ability and skill he's most proud of is building and design. I spelled design wrong. Oh my gosh, I forgot the N and I already turned this in. I put desig. Oh man, I hope they understand. They probably will. They're cool teachers. Ability or skill least proud of, his magical engineering. Because Redstone, that's Minecraft, and I couldn't put that. Magical engineering is what I'm calling it. His pet peeve is being able to hear people's breathing. I didn't really know, like, what to put, so I was like, I mean, I get annoyed, like, sometimes if I can hear, like, people breathing, I'm like, okay. So then I did, like, his little clothing thing over there, another part. Okay, so his family, it's not in the story. I made people up here. So his mom, Tanya Dreamer, his dad, Christopher Dreamer, his sister is Stella Dreamer, and brother is Echo Dreamer, which those are mentioned in Featherweight. His pets, actual or desired, he has a pet parrot named PB. Doesn't actually stand for anything. He's indecisive. He couldn't decide. His friends, are Oliver Clockwork, Victor Snow, Nas Carlos Jones, and John Doom. I'll get to those later. His enemies, Ed and A, select none, but Oliver kind of, and then himself, pensive emoji. Romantic interest. Used to have a girlfriend named Penny. And then his character design, which I'll be posting these on that Twitter profile page when I start doing like that. It's literally just Gran. It is literally just Gran, but he looks more like Grandroid because he's wearing his sweater because I didn't want him to do a shirtless character for this. So he has his sweater, his sweater, a collared shirt, a satchel bag. He's got his wings, and then it shows Flight, which is his superhero. It's literally just the Poultry Man costume I did, but instead of like the headphone thing, he's wearing like this kind of cloak thing, like shoulder cloak thing. And also he's not 8 feet tall because I didn't make it so he could change his size because that'd be way too much story to have to fit in a maximum of 6 pages. So, what has been the most important relationship of their lives? His friendship with Oliver, because he finally felt like someone cared, other than Mr. Doom. What is the one thing that this character cares about most in the world? Why? I can hear my brother talking. Evervale. That's Hermitcraft. I don't know why I couldn't. That's the name I thought of. It's fantasy-ish. Because it and its residents are now his home and family. His biggest fear is being alone and being, quote-unquote, discarded. He's afraid of this because he's prone to being, to having low self-esteem. Not all the time, but, when he does have it, it's pretty bad. And the best thing that's ever happened to him was meeting John Doom, who brought Charlie to Evervale. And the worst thing that ever happened to him was getting scratched for the Thunderbird. I kept Thunderbird because I couldn't think of any other type of bird. His biggest secret is he's becoming a bird, and only John, Oliver, and Nas Carlos know. Oliver because he's Charlie's best friend, Nas Carlos because Charlie thought he could help with his magic, and then John because he's like a big brother/father figure for Charlie, and Charlie needed help. And then here's the antagonist of the story. Oliver Nicholas Clockwork, or Ollie, but they call him Oliver. He's also 17, the same age in this. You can see I put Nicholas as his middle name because, Nick. 3 hobbies: building robots, making plans for projects, and exploring. 3 things that make him happy are gummy bears, his friends, and robots. 3 things that make him sad are friends being sad, accidentally hurting someone, and being away from his family. 3 things that make him angry are others lying to him, people being quote-unquote fake, and backstabbers. I feel like those last 2 are exactly the same. Ability and skill he's most proud of. is robotics engineering. His ability skill he's least proud of is his singing. His pet peeve is people mispronouncing words. That's also a pet peeve I have sometimes. His family, Delilah Clockwork, Justin Clockwork, Grace Clockwork, and Jonathan Clockwork. Pets, actual or desired. He has none, but he would like a small dragon. Also in the story, he's 6'3", because a 6'5", 17-year-old doesn't make sense. Also, me trying to explain his hair, because it says hair color, type, and favorite style. I said black, straight / poofy, or floofy, parted to side, ? And then his build, tall, kind of stocky, fit, but strong? I didn't know how to explain it. Enemies, N.A., well, Charlie, kind of. Romantic interest, none in the story, but he used to have a girlfriend named Natalie. And he doesn't have a mustache because he's 17, but he's got his glasses. My brother says he looks like, my two brothers were like, he looks like Nick Valentine before he was a synth, mixed with a young version of the medic from TF2, and I was like, alright. What has been the most important relationship of his life? His friendship with Charlie, because he finally felt like he belonged in Evervale, even though he had been there longer than Charlie had. What's the one thing his character cares about most in the world, and why? His friendships, because he knows his friends keep him okay. Biggest fear is being forgotten or left behind. It scares him because he's worried that his family and friends will move on or have moved on, and that he'll still be like a kid while everyone else has grown up. Best things happened to him is meeting John Doom, who took him to Evervale, and worst thing is leaving Natalie behind when he went to Evervale. Biggest secret is he has blueprints of robot versions of all of his friends and family. No one knows about this because Oliver hasn't had to build any of them yet. And on the reference drawing of it, there's one of him standing, there's like a bust of him, and then there's one of him like fixing this little tiny little robot who looks basically like SSOU Drumbot without a mustache. Or little blushies, but his eyes are closed, but it's really cute. And so let me explain some of the names. So, oh yeah, his friends are Charlie, Nas Carlos, Victor, and John. So Charlie Dreamer, we know that because Green Dreamslayer. Nas Carlos Jones, because in Featherweight, Scar's full name is Nas Carlos, and Jones because Indiana Jones is his default, it's his like normal Minecraft skin. Victor Snow because Iskel's name is Victor, and then Iskel means ice cold in Swedish, and so snow. And then John Doom because John Kane is one of the many names of Doom Guy, and then also Doom because that's his Minecraft skin, and then it kind of sounds like John Doe, which makes sense, you know. But yeah, so it has to be like this short version of it. And I just have to like condense it. The Robo Kids don't exist. A lot of TARDIS doesn't exist in the Fairy Tale Featherweight, which that's the name of it, Fairy Tale Featherweight. He is alone when he's Thunderbird because it would have added weight, like because I would have to explain it and then it would be too much text and it would have gone over the maximum, which it already did. It was supposed to be like 2 pages. I wrote like almost 4 because it was MLA format, so that means double space and that means less room to type. Dang it. So yeah, there's that. So there's like a lot of things that like don't exist, but it's so funny because if any of my teachers like went on like any of my socials, they would just see, they'd be like, hey, wait, the story you're writing for class is literally just this story you've been writing. What? It's so funny. And I feel like they kind of know. But they don't care because, you know, I'm still doing something creative and like, it's a really cool class. I love it. It's great. And I am still writing Featherweight. I've just been really busy with mock trial and with school and playing Fallout. So yeah, I started writing 51. I need to continue. Oh, and I posted a new song this week. It was Miss Nightingale, which is the one I played on my first episode of Doctor's Notes. And dude, so when I first like did all like the stuff with the piano and such, I was like, oh, this sounds pretty good. But then I listened to it the day after I posted it, I was like, this sounds kind of like messy now. Anyways, but the response, like I was expecting people to be like, oh, this is kind of weird because like it's all messy. It's too chaotic because in my head it had too many instruments doing different things at once. But the response was so positive and it made me so happy because it's like oh, people really like that. I'm gonna do something like that again. And I'm really proud of it. And yeah, um, someone had posted the chords, but they were the wrong chords, and I corrected them. I don't know if they've edited their comment yet. Once they do, and I check, I'll pin that comment on there so you guys can have the chords to it. If I can remember, I don't even know. I don't know the names of chords. I had to look up a chord sheet and be like, okay, where is it? But like I don't know. And so when I'm writing down like lyrics, and if I happen to write down chords, I will just, if I don't know the name chord, I'll just give it a symbol or a random name because I don't know the names of all of them. Oh, it's out of tune. I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll just randomly strum. There's this thing I would always like, if I didn't know what I was playing, I would just start strumming this random thing. I think it went. Oh, I'm trying to remember how it went, but it was like. There's just like a bunch of random chords or whatever. I remember how I play this. And then another one I know how it plays. Nope, that's how it goes. That's from the Adventure Zone. Those are the only ones I know how to actually like, pick, like do whatever that is. Yeah, basically, that's kind of all I have to say this week. I probably forgot other stuff I was gonna say, but you know, whatever. So yeah, I think that's where I'll end it. So down in the links below, you can find my Instagram, you can find my Redbubble, where you can buy stickers and other design things. I'm going to be adding more to my shops very soon. I keep saying that. I'm actually going to. I'm going to go through my Procreate gallery and find ones I can turn into stickers. You can find my Patreon, where you can support me at $3 a month. I don't know, I don't know how to do pricings, and so I just kind of went with the default pricings, but made them like a couple of dollars cheaper, so I'm like, I don't know. So at $3 a month, you get these episodes day before anyone else. You get songs and other stuff before I post them here. You get also some works in progress at $9 a month, which I probably should change that. You get a set of icons or profile pictures every month. So I've started actually doing them again this month, as I've posted on my community, YouTube community. It's Mumbot, RoboCleo, Doomsuit Grian, Doomgree, and then NPC from Snapshot. And then at $20 a month, because whoever does this is crazy, gets basically like a commission. And I want to thank my current patrons, Tiger Eye, AthensCupcak, and the newest patron. Thank you so much, Maria Luz. Thank you very much. You guys are great. yeah, so my Patreon, my Redbubble, my Instagram. Yeah. I don't know if I usually link anything else. Hopefully YouTube doesn't decide to randomly turn off the comments on this one. It did last time. If that happens, I'll try to fix the problem right away instead of waiting a day. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so very much. Your support is it's really cool. It makes me really happy because I'm just doing these things I love, and people seem to like it too. And so yeah, I was about to say something else. Oh yeah, I love Nick Valentine. He's great. Please, Bethesda, please, please just let me